Everyone, Justin Allen Montgomery here with Pro Course Start. Today, I want to talk about developing your course idea, your value proposition, and determining how do you leverage your unique knowledge and skills and actually turn it into, an actual in-demand course product. And also, what is the motivation behind your customer? And that's critically important to think about as you develop an idea for your online continuing education course business. So, coming up with the idea of your course business can be somewhat difficult. And I get emails all the time with people asking me if they think that this is a good idea. And oftentimes, to be honest, I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think it's valuable enough. I don't think it solves a real problem within their profession. Okay. And I think that is the critical question that you need to ask yourself if you're serious about developing an online continuing education course business. What is an actual real problem that faces my profession? If you're a medical or healthcare professional, what is a problem that this other doctor is experiencing, these other doctors are experiencing, these physician assistants or these physical therapists or whoever they may be? What problem are they facing? Like, what do you see in your day-to-day job? What do you see in your life? What do you see within your profession that's actually a problem? It needs to be a real problem. If you're a certified financial planner or an accountant or a lawyer, it's the exact same thing. What problems do you see your professional colleagues face? These problems should be something significant enough that it affects their life. It could be the lack of a certain skill set that they have that's holding them back from getting a promotion or starting their own business. It can be something that is preventing them from making more money. It could be lacking an actual skill for a procedure itself, or doing something digitally, or writing a contract, like whatever it is, okay? It needs to be a real problem. And the way to determine if it's a real problem or not is ask yourself, does this affect their professional life? And potentially, does it affect their personal life because of that problem? They can't get a promotion. They lack a skill set to get a new job. They lack the confidence to start their own business or something, right? So what's an actual real problem? That's what you need to be asking yourself. Does it truly affect their life? All right. Now, you have two options when starting an online course business, a continuing education course business. You can provide a course that provides true value to people, or you can provide a course that just is a check mark for them to get some CE hours, for their requirements to maintain their licensure. Or you can combine both of those for the big win. Okay. If you can do both, you're going to have an amazing product that will sell. Like, it will be in demand. All right. It'll just sell itself because what you're teaching is actually valuable and they want to learn it because it's going to help their career and they're going to get CE hours or credits for it that their employer is probably going to pay for, right? Because most professionals get some sort of stipend or they're able to, write it off on their taxes. And so in essence, a lot of the times the continuing education is, free in nature because the professional's not paying for it, their employer's paying for it, or they're going to get a nice, tax write-off for it. So it's discounted to them. So there's just this built-in demand. So if you can create something that's valuable in nature, something that truly moves the dial in the professional's life, you don't even have to offer CE for that. You really don't. My course business, the Elite Nurse Practitioner, for the first almost 3 years of that business, we didn't offer CE at all. And it was $1 million business because what I was teaching people was actually valuable and actually changed their life. So they didn't care if there was CE attached to it or not. When we did attach CE to it, sales increased, obviously, right? And so, I know other professionals who have a course business that provides CE and course business that doesn't. And to be honest with you, the people who don't provide CE but provide significant value, they make more money than the people who actually provide CE with their courses. It's because the people who just provide CE for their courses, they just pump out generic courses. They just pump out generic courses so people can just check a box and get their CE. But the people that actually deliver real value, that moves the dial in the professional's life. Okay. So be thinking about if you truly can solve a real problem for your professional colleagues, a real problem. If you can solve a real problem in their life, They won't care if there's CE attached to it or not. They're just not going to care. They don't care if they get a CE credit or an hour for it, okay? Because they want to learn what it is that you know. They want to learn that. So be thinking about that as you develop your course idea. Is the problem significant enough for someone to drop $500 on your course, or even $1,000 or even $3,000? Is it significant enough for them to drop that kind of money on your course? It will be significant enough if there's value there, okay? If you actually can solve a real problem for them, all right? That can be a knowledge deficit, that can help them pass a difficult test, that can help them start a business, whatever it is, help them, get a promotion, whatever, all right? If you can do that, you'll have a course business that'll do very, very well. So be thinking about that. So the equation is simple, guys. I talk about this on the website. I talk about this in the Pro Course Start Blueprint. What specific problem plagues your profession, and what is the solution that you can deliver to that problem by utilizing your expertise, by utilizing your knowledge, all right? Many of you listening to this, I know you have unique knowledge and experience. You might not think you do, but think about the novice professional, the novice doctor that's still maybe in residency or just coming out, or the physician's assistant that just graduated school, or the physical therapist that just graduated school, or the accountant that maybe has only been working 1 year, or just the fresh lawyer, all right? They would love to know what you know, all right? They would love to know that. You've paid your dues, all right? You've been in the trenches, all right? You've gained that experience, you've gained that knowledge, you've gained those skills. So why not organize that into an actual course that you could then sell to your professional colleagues to help them, all right? And then you make money from it, okay? Now, this is the thing, and I'm going to warn you. Anybody can create a course. Anybody can create a course. But very few people actually know how to create the course business, all right? Selling the course is the hard part. You can create a course. Anyone can create a course. That's easy. It's really not that hard. PowerPoint presentation, you record a lecture over it. It's really not that difficult. It's just creating the course business, sell it through. That's the trick, all right? And that's what I'm trying to teach everyone here through Pro Course Start, is creating the actual continuing education course business to sell that course through. That's critically important, all right? So be thinking about that as you go through this, as you create your course idea. How can I actually then sell it? That's very important. The way you sell it is by lots of content, lots of consistent content, exactly what I'm doing right here, all right? I'm talking about what I know, right? Lots of content, lots of free value, building an audience, marketing it correctly. Like, you can market your course business through a lot of different platforms. Like, you better understand how to actually do that. And that's what I teach through Pro Course Start, is that right there, because that is critically important. Developing a course is pretty easy. So make sure that you wrap your mind around that idea. It's very, very important. And you also need to be thinking about the motivation of your customer, okay? That'll help you determine what problems are significant and which problems aren't. What's the motivation of your customer, all right? Why should they buy your course? What's the motivation behind it? Be thinking about that. Like, what's their motivation? Is it to learn a new skill so they can get a promotion? Is it to learn a new skill to be more competent in their job? Is it to learn a strategy or a procedure that you kind of developed in your mind to start a business, or to make more money in your job, to get that promotion, whatever it may be? What's the motivation of your customer? Critically important, guys. You need to be thinking about this stuff as you build your online continuing education course business. Make sure there's some demand, all right? Make sure what you're doing is actually valuable in nature. You don't have to sell your course to the entire world. If your profession is 500,000 people, you don't need to sell your course to 500,000 people. You only need to sell your course to 1% of those people. You only have to sell your course to 1% of them, 0.5% of them, all right? At $500 a pop or $1,000 a pop. You do the math there, right? If you have a profession that's 500,000 individuals and you get 1% market share, 1% market share, all right? Think about how much money you could make selling your course for $500, right? It's like, what, $2.5 million? Like, you don't have to sell it to everybody. Like, you only need to sell it to a very subset of people within your profession. So there will be demand for your course product for a very small amount of your professional colleagues. But be thinking, what's the motivation for just 1% of your profession? If you can do that, you'll build $1 million course business, because that's what I did. I don't even think I even had 2% market share, and it was an 8-figure course business. All right. Still is an 8-figure course business. So be thinking about that. You don't need to sell to everybody, just a very specific few people and what's their motivation. All right. So if you can solve a real problem, develop a solution utilizing your expertise, you can sell it to just a very small amount of people in your profession, you can have $1 million course business. You really can. You know, course businesses that sell to everybody are usually just CE businesses that sell courses for $100, $50 a pop, $20 a pop or whatever. And they need so many people to buy that course to make a real profit. You can do that model if you want. That model works. But if you can actually do something valuable, solve a real problem, you only need 1,000 students. 1,000 students is really all you need. Think about it. 1,000 students, $500 a pop, $500 a course. That's $500,000. So you can see how this kind of business can really turn into a pretty significant passive income, because it's pretty passive in nature. Once you build your course, once you build the business out, all you gotta do is market it at that point and, you know, create content. Like I talked about the Procore Start Blueprint. So be thinking about that, guys. All right. So you don't have to solve problems for everybody. Just solve a very specific real problem to a very few specific people in your profession. If you can do that, you have $1 million course business. I guarantee it. All right. You know, if anyone has any questions whatsoever, feel free to, leave a comment, shoot me an email, shoot me a message. I'm more than happy to help you out. It's Justin@ProcoreStart.com. All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.